Asadhara Sadushi Sriman, His Divine Grace Kalesi, Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari all glories to these sound devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharne, Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Satarne. Om Agyana Tivarandasya Ghananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shigaro Shiyuta Parakamalam Shigaram Vaishnavam Scha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pradana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivasakan Svitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaur Ge Radhe Brindavaneshwari Prishubhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Padirana Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 19, The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, text number 20. Navaidam Rardishi Varya Chitram Bhavatsu Krishnam Samanuvrateshu Ye Dhyasanam Raja Kirita Jushtam Sadyoja Jahur Bhagavat Parshva Kama Navaidam Rajashi Varya Chitram Bhavatsu Krishnam Samanuvrateshu Ye Dhyasanam Raja Kirita Jushtam Sadyo Jahur Bhagavat Parshvakama Haidam Rashi Varti Am Samanuvrateshu Ye Dhyasanam Raja Kirita Dushtam Sadyo Jatur Bhagavat Parshvakama Ritam Advatsu Kashnam Samavardeteshu Ye Dhyasanam Raja Karita Jushtam Ladies. Sukashnam samanuvrateshu ye dhyasanam raja kirita jushtam. Venadar. Puedes conseguir un libro de salud. Oh. Na, neither. Ya, like this. Idam, this. Rajarshi, saintly king. Varya, the chief. Chitram, astonishing. Bhavatsu, unto all of you. Krishnam, Lord Krishna. Samanuvrateshu, unto those who are strictly in the line of. Ye, who? Adhyasanam, seated on the throne. Raja Kirita, helmets of kings. Jushtam, decorated. Sadhya, immediately. Jahu, gave up. Bhagavat, the personality of Godhead. Parshvakama, desiring to achieve association. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sages said, O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in the line of Lord Shri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you gave up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. Purport. Foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary posts they occupy are the highest material gain of life, and therefore they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that achievement of liberation as one of the associates of the Lord in His eternal abode is the highest gain of life. The human life is meant for achieving this end. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, His eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Prahlad Maharaj, while praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, said, "O my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life. I am not at the least afraid of your present ghastly, ferocious feature as Nrsimhadev. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life, and thus, my Lord, I pray at your lotus feet, call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors." This is the summit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life. In whatever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities, I have very painfully experienced two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So I drift from one point to another, birth after birth. And I pray to you, therefore, to give me shelter at your lotus feet. The Pandava kings, who are more than many saintly saints of the world, knew the bitter results of the materialistic way of life. They were never captivated by the glare of the imperial throne they occupied, and they sought always the opportunity of being called by the Lord to associate with him eternally. Maharaj Parikshit was the worthy grandson of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Maharaj Yudhisthira gave up the imperial throne to his grandson, and similarly Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhisthira, gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmanjaya. That is the way of all kings in the dynasty, because they are all strictly in the line of Lord Krishna. Thus the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glare of materialistic life, and they live impartially, unattached to the objects of the false, illusory, materialistic way of life. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarane. In the Bhagavad Gita there are two verses that are repeated twice. Actually there's others that are repeated halfway. But the two verses, one of them is Shreyan Swadamo Viguna Paradharma Sunustita Shre Dharmendi Nidam Shreyak Paradharmo Bhayavaha. That it is better to perform one's own duty, even though imperfectly, than to perform someone else's duty. Destruction in the cause of one's own duty is better than to follow someone else's duty, because to follow someone else's duty is dangerous. And the other verse is Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishasi Satyam Te Pratijani Priyosame. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you'll live with me always without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. So both ideas have to go on side by side. As Krishna says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yujecha Mayarpita Mano Buddhira Mame Vaishatya Samshaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should think of me, and at the same time, you should follow your prescribed duty of fighting. With your mind and intelligence fixed in me, and everything engaged in me, you'll attain to me without doubt. Materialistic life, or even life in this material world, exists like a dream. Now we can have a spiritual dream, and we can have a material dream. But even when we have a spiritual dream, we shouldn't get so much caught up in the dream that we actually think that we're the doer, and that we're actually, this is our dream, or this is me who are. In other words, Krishna says to Arjuna that everyone who comes to the material world is under the sway of Kala, or time. And Krishna doesn't think Kala is a very nice thing, although he himself is Kala. But Arjuna was curious because Krishna, his good friend, suddenly seemed rather disturbed, fire coming out of his mouth, eating soldiers, etc., grinding them between his teeth. So Arjuna is wondering, well, what's going on? You were such a nice person before, and are you bipolar or something? So Krishna, he tells Arjuna that actually this Ugra Rupa, Arjuna is asking, what is this Ugra Rupa, this horrible form of yours? So Krishna says, Kalosmi Shaye Krit Pravrido, Lokan Samaharatamiha Pravridak, Itepi Twam Nabi Vavshanti Sarve Yevastita Pratniyuke Shioda. That time I am the destroyer of all the worlds, and I have come here to engage everyone. So we shouldn't think that poor Arjuna, poor soldiers, they're being engaged by time. But right now, right here, at this moment, we're all being engaged by time. And what has time come? He's come to destroy everything. if you haven't noticed, things are being destroyed. Things don't last forever here. So, now everyone should become morose. No. Krishna does add a couple extra lines afterwards to make sure Arjuna understands things a little bit more clearly. Tasmat tvam utishya sholabhasva jitva shutrum bhuksha rajan sramidam Mayava tena nimitra bhatram bhavasavasachin. Just get up and prepare to fight, and after conquering your enemies, you'll enjoy a flourishing kingdom. There he put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. In other words, we have the opportunity to simply desire to engage in Krishna's service. And when we engage in Krishna's service, then Krishna will give us an opportunity to become, at the same time, Krishna conscious. Exactly what happens in our service is not as important as that we become conscious of Krishna. If we become conscious of Krishna, then our service is actually successful. And if we don't become conscious of Krishna, maybe we think we're being successful, and others may think we're very successful, but actually we're just wasting our time. Because then we'll give another opportunity to acquire a false ego and falsely think that we're accomplishing so many things in this world. But the only thing to actually accomplish in this world is become conscious of Krishna. That doesn't mean that when Krishna engages us according to this body, when we're actually under his direction, then he'll actually accomplish what he wants to in this world. In other words, Krishna wants to give everyone the opportunity so that they have the possibility of becoming conscious of Krishna. Therefore he arranges so many different things like temples and devotees to go out and books and so many different just so that people can get the opportunity to become conscious of Krishna. Generally, the process is that things are arranged so that people get the opportunity to hear about Krishna. So that means that there must be someone who wants to give them that opportunity. Now, if people want to give people the opportunity, then they give them a book or they invite them to the temple so they can hear about Krishna. But that's not the end of it, that they touch the book or they bought the book, and then they enter into the temple and they saw the deities, and now they can go back and do whatever they want. No, the idea is that when we get the books, well, we should read the books, remember the books. I was hearing, I believe it was Naikatma Prabhu's remembrance of when Prabhupada was giving him Gayatri. Is that right? And Prabhupada said, if you can't remember, then what's the good of my teaching you? Is that right? How can I help you? So we're not only trying to read the books, we're trying to remember what they say, because if they simply go in one ear and they go out the other ear, then their space remains between the two. There may be space there now, but better to fill it up rather than exit whatever sound we get. Therefore, even when one is giving a class, there's no sense of telling a million different things. Better to say one thing again and again, just like in Prabhupada's purports. Sometimes, if you look at the verse, especially the important verse, he just says Krishna all the time. So at least by the time you finish, if you do read the purport and heard anything, perhaps you heard Krishna. So hear the books, read them until we actually remember what they say, but that's not the end of it either. Next thing is to try to actually assimilate everything that we can remember so we can see some perspective, what Krishna is actually telling us, how he sees this world. Because after all, he's speaking Bhagavad Gita. He's not telling the way his grandmother sees the world. He's telling us the way he sees the world. And there's no better way to see the world than the way Krishna wants us to see the world, the way he's revealing it. So we should see the same way that Krishna is seeing. Like Vidya Vinaya Sampane, Brahmani Gavihastani, Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha, Pandita Samadarshana. that Krishna sees everyone as a soul and that he's with them, directing them, every living entity. And he has other verses such as Dukeshu va managmanak sukeshu vigatas priha vitaraga bayakrodas dita diramuni uchite. One who's not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is known as the sage of steady mind. So in the interactions of living entities in this material world, there is so much dissension, as Queen Kunti said. There are so many problems that arise. It's not just the Daivi Klesha, of course that's due to our offenses against the demigods, and Adibodhika, due to the offenses against other living entities, and Adhyatmika, due to the fact that we just follow whimsically our senses and mind without intelligence. So we're suffering due to our past activities or present activities. But while we're suffering, we should understand why we're suffering. Krishna is not just some old man who likes to see people suffer because he has arthritis and so many diseases, and misery loves company, and since he sees everyone, he wants to make sure everyone suffers so he feels one with everyone. No, there's a purpose behind suffering. The purpose, as Prabhupada said, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshana. That birth, death, old age, and disease, without them, without these miseries, there's actually no impetus to make advancement in spiritual life. If everything was going smoothly like it is in the heavenly planets, we wouldn't be here. We'd be out enjoying somewhere. But because we suffer, therefore we approach Krishna as sufferers or persons who are looking for something positive or acquisitiveness, or as persons who actually understand things clearly and can act upon that clarity. So we're hearing, we're trying to remember, we're trying to assimilate the knowledge, we're trying to see it in perspective. Why? So we can apply it with conviction. And what is that application? That we understand we're Krishna is the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. That's applying with conviction. That's the point of initiation, that one is supposed to become a member of the Hare Krishna movement. That's what initiation is meant for, to give up our false ego of defending ourselves or trying to get something in the material world to enjoy. Instead, initiation means I give up my false ego, and now with conviction, I act in the field of Ishvara Tada Dineshu Balisheshu Dvitsasucha Prema Maitri Kripo Peka Yat Karoti Samadhimaha. That I try to actually love and serve Krishna without any kind of materialistic desires, with pure consciousness. And I try to make friends with the devotees. And I try to, how to make friends with the devotees? Well, Sri Rupa Goswami says that dadati pratigrinati guyam akiti prisite, that there are loving exchanges with the devotees. And that's how we make friends with them. And they should be applied appropriately. So that appropriately means Krishneti yasigiritam manasedriyeta. The general categories are, if one is not following very strictly, then I respect them within my mind. And if one is actually initiated, is trying to give up the false ego, is cooperating to serve Krishna in the temple and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, then I try to cooperate with them. And if one is superior to me, they actually are more advanced in unalloyed, undeviated devotional service. Or if I can see anyone who has some quality that will help me advance in Krishna consciousness, then I hear from them, I observe their example and what I'm trying to learn, and I follow them. That way I come to at least to the platform that they're on. So these loving exchanges are the field in which we can appropriately serve the devotees. And if we don't, then Krishna will help us. If we can't hear from Krishna, from his internal energy, who is prompting us to serve him, inspiring us to serve, then Maya will come and slap us until we get the message. So Maya actually means mercy, because without that slap, then we'll never understand that we're doing something wrong. If we got rewarded for every time we did something wrong, we'd really be in trouble. Of course, we're really in trouble right now, but we don't realize that, so Maya has to slap us. And it all has to do with our relationships. Our relation with Krishna, our relation with the devotees, our relation with the innocent, our relation with the atheists. It all has to do with our relationships. So, in our Krishna consciousness movement, that's what we're supposed to be taught. That's why we take initiation, to be taught the loving exchanges, and not in some limited way, in some sectarian way. We take initiation from an elevated spiritual master who's expert in the loving exchanges, who knows appropriately how to apply them in his life and to teach others how to apply them in their life. He doesn't say, I'm your spiritual master, surrender to me, and everyone else is useless. That I'm taking you back to Godhead, and who knows where everyone else is taking you. No, actually the spiritual master teaches one how to see Krishna, first of all, how to see Krishna and serve him appropriately, and then to see Krishna as Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book, in the Prayers of Personified Vedas, a Madhyama Adhikari sees the Vaishnavas as representatives of Krishna. So how to actually see Krishna in the hearts of the devotees and honor him appropriately. That's what the spiritual master teaches one. How to see those who are more elevated than us and serve them appropriately. They may even be more elevated than him. But if he's actually a devotee, he won't be envious. He'll actually inspire not some restricted love, exchange and service, but unlimited exchange and service if it's appropriate. Then if that goes on, if one learns how to cooperate under the directions of superior devotees and respect devotees who are neophyte but trying to do, or at least doing something in devotional service, then bhakti can develop. But if we mix up the loving exchanges, we don't apply them appropriately, then we'll simply have dissension in the Hare Krishna movement also. We'll have little camps or big camps, and in those big or little camps they'll fight with each other also. Because if we can't learn the principles of loving exchanges with others, we won't learn them even in so-called bigger camps. Then they'll simply fight and divide themselves into smaller and smaller camps until everything disappears again. Therefore, if we want to get out of the miseries, then we have to learn how to appropriately exchange loving exchanges with the devotees and Krishna and the innocent, and also how to appropriately deal with the atheists. Otherwise, Maya will keep on harassing us in the form of the threefold miseries, and we'll also have to face the fourfold miseries, birth, death, old age, and disease. Unless we learn the lessons of how to exchange loving exchanges, then, and develop a spiritual family of ISKCON, where everyone feels themselves to be part of a greater family, then the result will be that we'll never be inspired to actually serve the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because people serve their family. They have to have a sense of family for service. The spiritual world, they have a sense of family. And the spiritual world here has to have a sense of family because people will sacrifice for their family. They won't sacrifice so much for strangers. Then we can actually have people dedicating their energies, whatever they may be. Prabhupada writes in the Srimad Bhagavatam that if one has some intelligence, then use that intelligence, convince people that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Don't try to take his position by a fragmental accumulation of knowledge. One has the ability to organize, and organize the Sankirtan movement. Fight like Arjuna did to spread Krishna consciousness. And if one has some resources, engage them in the Sankirtan movement. Otherwise, there won't be anything to organize. And there won't be anything to talk. Then the preachers who have something to say won't have any place to say it. So people have so many talents. Everyone in our movement has so many talents. There are people outside have so many talents. And they should be engaged to convince people that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that we're all the servants of the servants of his servants. So unless we become the servants of the servants of the servants of Krishna, we'll never be convinced that Krishna actually is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we become convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that we're the servants of his servants, then we can convince others to join this movement also, under that idea. Then our movement will actually become dynamic and spread the way Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted and envisioned that will be spread. But if we maintain some sectarian understanding, then Maya will keep on harassing us, and we may not know why we're being harassed, but we should know why we're being harassed, so we stop falling into material consciousness. In other words, Maya is always inviting us to feel ourselves to be better than others, for some reason or another. That I'm bigger than you, I'm faster than you, I'm smarter than you, I have more samosas than you. For some reason or another. Rather than thinking ourselves that I'm simply the servant of Krishna's servant, and my only business, as Brigupati Prabhu said yesterday, whenever we meet anyone, is how can I serve you, how can I help you become conscious of Krishna. It doesn't matter who you are. Not that immediately I see someone and I simply meditate on their designations, including the idea that, well, you're not initiated by my spiritual master, therefore you're not really part of my family. And then deal with people according to one's material concepts of life, rather than dealing with people according to a spiritual conception of life. I believe it or not, when Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavihastane, not every elephant was initiated by the same spiritual master. Nor was every dog or dog eater. Nor was every Brahmin. But still we have to see equality, and not that we serve everyone the same way, because Krishna says we serve the devotees as a special category. We don't serve them all the same way, but we serve them with love appropriately. Then we'll have an actual atmosphere where we'll be happy to be here. And devotees won't come in one door and disappear out the other door. They'll actually want to come and invite others to also come and share the spiritual atmosphere, the loving exchanges, appropriate loving exchanges. Then our society will actually become successful. And those in the society, they'll develop by becoming conscious of Krishna everywhere, all the time, the good qualities of the devotees, because they'll be in constant contact with all these exalted devotees and be able to experience their love for them and love for Krishna. And so Krishna consciousness won't be simply a theoretical construct, it'll actually be a daily experience. The happiness we're looking for is not simply to somehow or another hitch a ride back to Goloka Vrindavan. By some chance, the spiritual chariot came to pick someone up and I jumped on the back. No, it's by experiencing the loving exchanges now, here, in this movement, not in some distant idea or some theoretical idea in the future. Then the miseries of material existence will disappear. If we actually gain the qualities Prahlad Maharaj said, Naiva Dvije Paradaratya Vaitaranyas Tvavirya Gayana Mahamrita Magni Chitak Soche Vimukha Chetasa Indriyaratam Maya Sukhayam Bharam Udvato Vimudan. Prahlad Maharaj was absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He loved all the devotees, he loved everyone, and therefore he didn't experience material misery. But he was actively trying to help others because he loved them to become conscious of Krishna. He knew that was the way to help people become the servants of Krishna's servants. Then everyone will be inspired. To those who are giving initiation, if they train their disciples appropriately, those who are instructing, they'll be inspired to inspire those who are initiated to take shelter of their guru, because by taking shelter of their guru, their loving exchanges with everyone else will also increase. And because their loving exchanges with everyone else increases, therefore everyone else will inspire them to take shelter more of their guru, and the guru will inspire them to take shelter of the other devotees also appropriately, and serve the other devotees appropriately. And therefore we'll actually have a united Krishna conscious family, and everyone will be working with unity and diversity. So, thank you. Any questions? Comments? Yes. Oh, by the way, in the meantime, this is a book in English. It's called Hope This Meets You in Good Health. What it is, one time I was putting out a newsletter every year. It was called Hope This Meets You in Good Health. And part of the newsletter, we'd have quotes from Prabhupada about health. So after 20 years of compiling, then one time I was doing yoga. I was going for an advanced certification in yoga. And I don't know, I guess I did something to my rotator cuff, so I couldn't sleep for 3 months. So I decided I'd write a book. So this is the book. It's a systematic organization with everything I could find in anything Prabhupada wrote in his letters and his books, and other anecdotes from Prabhupada's disciples, and the memory series and other things, and the Lilamrita, whatever Prabhupada said about health that I could find, or others found, that I systematically organized them in different topics. So that's the first part of this book. And the second part is articles that I wrote over the years about Ayurveda, because I was teaching Ayurveda for 7 years in Vrindavan twice a year for a month, and I got the opportunity to associate with Ayurvedic doctors and learn a little something. So these are available. We only have 20 copies, but I have 2 here. We asked for $15 because that covers the printing cost, and a little bit more, so we can print up more of them. 15. If you get more, it's all right. They're also available on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon.com in PDF form. So, any question? Yes. Someone had, yes.
Thank you for the wonderful class, Swamiji. I kind of got lost at one point, and I was wondering if you said we have to become convinced, we have to start trying to convince others.
Well, to become convinced, we have to learn the philosophy. We have to learn the philosophy in such a way as to remember what we're hearing, assimilate it, because our philosophy should be seen from many different perspectives to understand it clearly. And then we should apply it with conviction. And if we apply it in conviction with the loving exchanges, then we'll experience the loving exchanges. Because Krishna consciousness is not just supposed to be a theory, it's supposed to be an experience. It's not just activity, it's an experience. And when we apply it with the loving exchanges and we experience them with Krishna, with Krishna's devotees, even with the innocent people, and even defeating those who are envious of Krishna, we experience that, the pleasure of Krishna and his devotees, then the result is we actually feel like we're part of a family, and our commitment to the family increases. We want to do more. We want to utilize fully our abilities and our resources. And the result of that is that we'll always be feeling ourselves meek and humble and a servant of Krishna and his devotees, and therefore we'll always be in Krishna consciousness. Maya will not be able to take our consciousness away, and we'll manifest by the mercy of Yoga Maya all the good qualities of the devotees. And we'll actually become a real devotee ourselves. Does that answer your question? Yes. One more question. What's that? Okay, first. No, it's all right, you know. So I guess we'll stop there. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.